guys, it's Doc, and you have to excuse me because I'm actually doing the tendon today. Couldn't have a full crew here because it's the 4th of July weekend. So I got 2 divers down, and I'm the guy watching them, and I can't leave. I gotta stay with my diver. Always stay with your wingman. One of our rules is we never allow a diver to go down alone. So anyways, I just figured I'd shoot some stuff while I'm here, talk about a couple things. One thing I am going to talk about real quick is incremental processing. Incremental processing, if you haven't watched that video, I really want you to understand it, because a lot of people don't understand. I've got a question, well, how long should my sluice be? And a lot of that depends on incremental processing. A lot of it depends on the feed rate that you have. And to give you sort of a better idea, I kind of like to talk about it in the term of when you dump a whole bunch of material in a system, let's say the first 25% of it loads up real heavy. It may take a couple of seconds for that area to actually process down the lights and so on and so forth. So if you have 2 or 3 seconds of processing that's going on, what's happening? Material is still coming in the system. So what's happening to the material that's coming into the system while that stuff is still processing? Well, it's riding over that area and it's going down to the next area, to the next 25%. So that's why controlled feed rates and understanding your feed rates are so important. In other words, my top 25% is full, which means everything is riding over the top and it's going down to the next 25%. That 25% gets full, so on and so forth. So if you have a real heavy feed rate, you'll see gold all the way down your sluice. The majority will be up at the top, but it's okay to see a little bit of gold down the bottom, especially when you're working something like a dredge. Now a dredge, a lot of times you'll have surges, you'll have rocks on the nozzle, and the water in the sluice. It's not like a high banker where it's real consistent. In the dredge, what you'll see is a lot of times that water is real strong, then it drops back down, then it's real strong, and you're trying to, that's one of the things we teach our dredgers, is that you're trying to keep that constant flow rate. You want to keep it constant. If you don't keep it constant, you're going to get surges, you're going to get your sluice build up, you're going to have rocks in your sluice, you got to sit there and rake it. We run ours pretty hot, but that's why we'll see the majority of our gold up in the top 1/3, medium gold in the middle third, and very little gold down the bottom. Because all we're doing is we're just treating that bed load down there, and we have a long enough sluice that it incrementally processes. So step by step, when the top gets full, the slurry moves down. I want you to understand that. Next thing that's really cool is if you have a hog pan, that's one of the things I like to do out here, because what I can do is I can go straight to my tailings pile, just scoop that hog pan full with about 2 or 3 gallons of material, process it down, put it in a finishing tray, and I can check my losses. So I just grabbed about 3 gallons of tailings, got it concentrated down to about 1.5 cups in 10 seconds. Now I can put this into my finishing pan and check for losses. So I was using a hog pan, testing tailings. They hit this really beautiful quartz vein. Both the dredges are running white smoke, just beautiful looking stuff. Should be good runs, but I went over with the hog pan and grabbed at least 3 or 4 gallons. I mean, just a huge pan full of the tailings directly under the big dredge and pan it down. But here's what I want to show you. So you can see a bunch of fine black sand there, and I think you can see right at my fingertip, there's one little piece of like 100 right there. To me, that's a good sign. I'm not seeing lots of black sand. I'm seeing very little gold, but I expect to see a speck or two in my tailings. Again, we're just cranking material through them. They surge. I mean, it's just how dredges work. I expect to have a small amount of losses, so I want to be able to run 95, 98, somewhere in there. Really good looking stuff. Hey guys, so yesterday we were out here and we ran out of good ground. We actually hit a spot that's either been dredged or just was a bad ground spot. So we're back out here today and we jumped about 10 yards. And I'm going to show you the money shot that I say is the money shot, especially when you're dredging or when you're excavating deep. So I'm going to grab the camera and show you real quick. But anyways, this is what I call the money shot. When I start to see these and when I'm down in hard pack, you know, 24 or 36 inches, and the guys start throwing or I start throwing these rocks, they're just big, beautiful, smooth rocks. Now it takes hundreds and thousands of years to get these rocks all rounded over, these quartz rocks. And they're just everywhere. We've got a whole pile, we're just pulling them non-stop out of there. A huge pile of quartz rocks. Every single rock, there's hard pack, and we're having to really struggle to get them out. But this is the beautiful stuff I like to see. And we just shut down, and we had our first, what I'd say a B+ run, which is basically gold in almost every line of the top third of the mat. Real pretty stuff. Some real fine stuff, and a couple pickers too. So we're back on what I call being above ground. Yesterday we hit ground that was C-, D, and even had an F run. So we jumped up about 10 yards and we're into this special corner now. Alright, so we just shut down and I figured I'd show you. A lot of people don't know what the mats look like after we shut down these big dredges. But we've got a combination of mats in here. This mat is RiverHog, has tall riffles up here, and it comes down to sort of lower and lower down here. But you can see, hopefully, you can see the black sand. There's lots of black sand behind these riffles, even the lower ones back here. And you'll have rocks. As the riffle gets larger, you'll have larger rocks, but you'll have, this looks like it's all packed in here. But let me zoom in there a bit. All right. That kind of looks like it's all packed in there, but actually it stays real. It stays real active when it's running. You can see all that fine black sand in there, but it sort of settles down. Of course, the vortex will collapse and it'll settle down a little bit when you shut off. But you can see up here, oops,
you can see up here, this is a much taller riffle up here, and there's a lot of black sand and even lights up here, but there's a lot of black sand under here. Zoom in a bit so you can see that. You can see that all in there. And there's hematite and there's all kinds of stuff. The majority of our gold is going to be caught up in here through about the first 2/3 of our mat. We'll just see a few specks down in here, just a few specks. And then same thing, what I do this without taking a swim. Here's the other mat. Now you can see that one too. And you can see that just behind the riffles in here, you've got your material. And then look at that, that's pretty cool. All that black sand in there, and garnets and black sand all behind here. But again, all I really care about is treating the bed load. So in other words, I don't care about what's at the top of the water flow or the middle of the water flow. I only care what's at the very bottom, the bed load. Understand the difference between the two, between the bed load, the sediment load, and the other loads. The bed load is really what you want to treat. Everything else, the gold will settle down into that bed load really quickly, and so that's why we only care about that bottom, bottom 25% of the water, or 35%, especially the further we get back in a sluice, the lower typically my riffles will go, because the gold is settling more, settling more, settling more. When it's way up high in some kind of dredge system, of course, when you're in a dredge system, your fine gold is going to stay up in that sediment load up here. It's not dropped down in the bed yet. It's not till further back down that you'll see that. Just a little tip. Time to get wet. Let's go swimming. Oh, here we go. It's gonna get deep. It's gonna get deep. Oh, it's deep. I gotta watch out for the hole over here. Alright, so we just started looking at this mat. But anyways, this is what I kind of want to show you. This is at the very, very, very top of the mat. Where is it here? See if you can see some of this. But this mat is just loaded, especially with super fine stuff. That's what I like to see. You can see that right there, really good. Okay, so here's a good example too. Oh, if I can get it. Look at that. That's pretty. Yeah, it's real pretty right there. Beautiful. Alright, so here's a good example of why you want to mix your mats. We're in an area that's, famous for small, fine gold. Yes, it's quartz. I mean, it's kind of coarse gold, but here's why. Not only do we find all that fine stuff, but every once in a while, let me get that out of here. Every once in a while, we start to find that kind of stuff. Well, that's cool right there. Those are some nice little chunkers, those two.